chat window. Oh. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Where's our chat? Our chat's fucked up again. That's how we open the show. Talk about how the chat's screwed up. Refresh. We have to refresh it. Yeah. Oh no, it was too early. I was premature, like usual. Ha! As it were. There we go. Oh, what is up? I gotta sit on my legs. I gotta sit on my feet like a weirdo. Crap in my pockets. I got water on my sleeves. What's up, everybody? It's Monday. Got to drop an F-bomb right out the gate, you know? Let them know. Got to let them know what we're all about around here. I got to fix this. I moved it. Voila! There we go. We fixed it. What's going on? It's Monday, the 19th of May, everybody. It's the 19th of May, and this be what we're doing today. We be streaming today because it's Monday. We normally stream on Mondays. That's how we do it around here. I'm going to say it at the beginning of the stream instead of the very, very end of the stream this time. That if you want to see more content from this channel, that is going to... I need YouTube to financially supersede the other money I make from doing labor. Is basically what it boils down to. So we need people to be on Patreon. We need people to get memberships here or super chat or whatever you want to do. Or you could buy stuff off of Amazon through our Amazon affiliate link, which the Federal Trade Commission requires me to tell you that that we get a commission from that. So I've stated it, and you know it. And so if you get a link from the Amazon, okay, we'll keep it easy. We'll find a reasonable link that isn't too over the top, because as we know, the some people like to think that the female orgasm is not real. It's a myth, right? Although we know it's not. I say we, right? Me and the other boys. Me and the boys. We know it's not fake. We know it's real. There's a link right there to an aquarium pump. There we go. That's pretty PG for the beginning of the stream. If you click through the Amazon links and you go and you buy stuff, we get a commission. That's how it works. And if you're already going to buy stuff, you might as well hit us with the advertising dollar that is going to otherwise end up going to some much, much shadier company. Right? Yeah. Correct. Okay, so we did the spiel. That's the thing. We gotta have the links. We gotta post the links, otherwise we're not linking. Yikes. It's a real yikers if we're not linking the links. Cool. Patreon's telling me to sync old episodes. No, we don't want to do that right now. We're not doing that right now. Right now what we're doing is we're just collecting. Oh shit, it doesn't give me it doesn't give me the regular link. Hold on. We need this. This is the regular link. Holy shamoly, it did it again. Can I copy that, please? Oh, we can copy this one. Look at that. Oh, fucking welcome to the wave of the future. Okay. Control. V. Enter. Oh, my God. Wave of the future. There we go. We've managed to copy and link. Copy and paste a link. And then, of course, I have closed the whole Patreon window. Smart. I'm the smart guy around here. Smart fella closes the window, but I like to have a million tabs open. I don't know if you guys know that about me, but I like to have a lot of tabs open, okay? It's a bold statement, It's a bold statement in this day and age. Yeah, okay. It's what did I already say the date? Yeah, it's May 19th. What do the aquarium pumps say to the sump water? I don't know. Get out of here, you jerk. I don't know. I don't know what they would say. Oh shit, we've gone live on YouTube. I just got an email about it. Okay, there we go. Waiting on the email from waiting on an email from the fucking what's the word I'm looking for here? Asbestos people. Asbestos test, and it's just not coming. The guy keeps emailing me saying he needs the asbestos test, and I'm waiting for the email that says they did the asbestos test, and that is frustrating me today. If you wanted to know, personal business frustration is asbestos tests. That's what's up now. Even though the whole place is completely ready with new products that doesn't have any asbestos, just show up and test the new products and say if there's asbestos or not. Just do that. There we go. Okay, let's check the chat. People aren't chatting very hard today. You got to chat harder. You said, what did the aquarium pump say to the sump water? And then we didn't even get the follow-up on the goddamn joke. We didn't get the follow-up. What are we going to do about it? What we're going to do about it is we're going to end up opening the phone lines if you guys don't chat hard enough, and then I'm just going to talk to Witchy Cat. Let's see. Witchy Cat sent me a link here. What is this? Let's let it open. Let's let it open before I share it with you guys. Oh, fuck, it takes a minute to open. Old school website. Old school website. Oh, Aaron's studio hates the Constitution. Let's see if he has any content. Let's go see. Oh, let's first check the channel activity. Oh, no. This person has never posted anything. Let's go to their channel. Do they have any content? Let's take a look. It's probably content where they're just pissing all over the Constitution, right? It's probably like a homemade video. Oh no, they don't. They haven't even posted anything. They've been more about this channel. Oh, they joined in 2009, and they hate the Constitution, but they've never posted any of their own content. Thanks, Aaron, for hating the Constitution of America. I don't know why. I don't know why you do that, but you apparently do. Strong. It's very strong. D-Rock's chatting so hard. That's good. Kyle Knutsen's here. What's up, Kyle? How you doing? Frank Dominguez, Kiwi Mamo, Witchy Cat, and I forgot to say hi to Alyssa. I read your joke, but we never got a punchline, so we don't even know. Is it a good joke? Is it a bad joke? We don't know. Let's see. Oh, this is an interesting website. I'll look around in this. I don't want to do it right now while we're live because I'm not sure what their moderation looks like as far as like a live stream goes. You never know. Every once in a while, somebody's chocha ends up popping up on the screen, and then you get in trouble, right? And people are like, "You can't do that." Okay. Moving right along. Okay, there we go. I have some friends I'm hoping to bring into chat today, one of whom was raised in a far-right militia family with a couple who were conservative military. I've gotten a lot of pushback from people who absolutely believe attitudes can't be changed, or if they do, it should just be too little too late. And I can't with that. We all have to live in this democracy, so it can't be this constant all-out battle without some type of give. Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I would like, speaking to anybody out there, is that long-standing in the United States, this has been going on for the entirety of my life, and I'm 400,000 years old. 400,000 years old, so it's been going on the whole time. And there's been this long-standing idea that if you change your mind, right, about something, if you're like, hey, I've learned and gathered new evidence, an opinion that I had before was incorrect and I've changed, is somehow either disingenuous or like you just never were smart enough, or you never were I don't know what's the right staunch enough in your beliefs or whatnot. And I think that personally, I think there's a big reality behind learning new things that is very important and is somehow being stifled in the United States, for sure. And a good example would be like Aaron's studio here says, wasn't this a fish channel? What the fuck happened? But they're too baby brain to actually even type out what the fuck happened, right? This is a fish channel. I have a bunch of fish tank videos on here. A shitload of videos, actually. I have a ton of videos, ton of content that you could look up and you could go watch if you want, or you could not watch it if you don't want to. I frankly don't care. I do what you got to do. But we're live streaming right now, and contextually, the thing that I have to talk about is politics. I'm allowed to talk about politics because I don't work for any other companies. I don't have to I don't have to get phone calls or emails or nonsensical bullshit from somebody who is in charge that is like, yeah, I believe in all of the things that you believe in, but I'm going to lose customers. So I just act like, no, it's fine. Right? So, yeah. I mean, I'm here to talk about what I want to talk about. If you don't want to intake the content, you don't have to. I just do whatever you want. But I think for a long time in the United States, for whatever reason, that has been the sort of standing order of like, well, I don't believe in anything Bernie Sanders says, but I respect the fact that he's been saying that shit for so many years. You're allowed to talk politics now. For the past 4 years, you'd get kicked off this site for doing that. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You're absolutely making up. You have some kind of made up nonsense in your mind. I was disallowed from talking about certain things because of the company that I worked for, not fucking YouTube, you jackass. You've been able to say whatever you want on YouTube for the past 15 years that YouTube has existed. You've been able to say whatever. Now I'm a COVID moron. Right. Oh, because of COVID. Because of COVID, you weren't allowed to say whatever you wanted. You weren't allowed to like make up stories about ivermectin or masks or whatever. Oh man, bullshit. Oh, it's bullshit. Okay, strong. Anyhow, I'm gonna go back on to what I was talking about. But for some reason, in the United States, you were apparently supposed to formulate whatever thoughts you were gonna have at the age of 20 or whatever, and then just never change for the next 65 years until you drop dead, which is an absurd standard to set on anyone. And if you actually vocalize it in that way, you're like, no one would ever imagine that to be the case. But it is been a long thread in the United States that anybody that changes their mind or changes their opinion on anything is somehow a sign of weakness or whatever. You Democrats love the Constitution when you were forcing vaccine mandates and firing nurses for not taking that shit. private companies can let people go for any reason. It's called a right to work states. So if you want to change that, maybe get on it, you know, maybe get on that, right? You want legislation that says private companies aren't allowed to remove employees for whatever reason they want. I mean, you might want to get on that. You might want to call your Republican guys that you apparently fucking whole hog take their cock in your mouth, and see if maybe your blowjobs are good enough to change the law, right? But unfortunately, you're advocating for a fucking dictator to just do whatever they want in this country, you know, which is problematic in its own right, you know, probably a little more problematic than, you know, medical institutions wanting or requiring their workers to be vaccinated against a fucking against a virus that was spreading throughout the facilities that they work in to help treat said virus, right? But don't worry. Aaron's studio has got it all figured out. Don't worry, guys. Aaron's studio has got it all figured out. Don't worry. Their YouTube content is coming soon. They've been doing tons of vaccine research. They've been doing tons of work. They've been doing tons of work in like curing COVID or possibly just spreading a bunch of misinformation on fucking Facebook like a jackass. But, you know, maybe it's the big research center that Aaron's studio is working on. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the big vaccine and research center that Aaron's studio has been working on the last 15 years. Or they're just constantly shitposting and listening to dipshits like Steven Crowder all day, right? Dark Lumen's here. Wait, this is live? That's right. Wait. This is live. Yes. Witchy Cat is here. What's up, Witchy Cat? Oh, that's right. I should open the green room in case Witchy Cat wants to call in. Consistently, Witchy Cat's the only one that calls in. I should rename the green room into Witchy Cat calls in room. That would make sense. I bet you're quadruple vaxxed. That's why your channel's gone to shit. Right. Or it's the fact that I haven't posted any produced videos in a long time. That's probably the reason, because it is the reason. But frankly, I don't care because, like I said before, at the very beginning of the stream, you know, unless YouTube supplants the work that I do, right, with the income, then there's not a whole lot of reason to continue doing YouTube. And one of the big reasons why you'll see that moving into the next couple of years, the YouTubers that were successful are the ones that are able to market products, right? So what you do is you come up with an idea for a product, then you go to your Chinese manufacturers and you have them manufacture it for you, and then you resell it at retail prices to your YouTube customers, right? And that's how you do it. So what, I mean, if you want to go up all the way up to the tippity top of the food chain, as far as that's concerned, right? Like, just look up Jake Paul and what's the other Paul brother? Luke Paul. Who are the Paul brothers? Who are these fucking idiots?
Rand.
Who are the Paul? Jake Paul and Logan Paul. That's the other one. Yeah, if you want to look up, that's a perfect example of that. If you want to go back further, you could look up PewDiePie is a good example of like selling $400 gaming chairs, which PewDiePie never made a fucking chair in his entire life that I know of. I don't know. Maybe there is a stool that he made or something. He lathed one out of wood at some point in time. But one of the big things that I didn't want to do was that. I didn't want to be a guy who was just the middleman to selling shit that was made overseas. I think that personally, right, I think it's terrible. I think it's pretty terrible that There are a lot of American companies that do that. And by the way, most of the American companies that you know of by name, no, I'm filming this in your mom's basement, you know, because she likes me to stop by and service her. The reason I didn't want to do that is because most of the U.S. companies are that. Most of the U.S. companies are just middlemen, are middlemen that are just reselling shit that's made overseas, whether it be Vietnam, whether it be Thailand, whether it be Laos, China, whatever, you name the country, it's made overseas, and they're just a middleman who repackages something. And like I did this a while ago, but like a perfect example would be I had to buy these black cup hooks. I don't know if you've ever seen these before, but you just screw them into some wood and you can hang something. You know, it's got a screw end on it, right? And a little pirate hook on the end, right? This side screws into the wood. I had to buy some of these cup hooks. And you're like, what is this company? OOK. I don't know what that is. OOKS. Yeah. Oh, wait. No, this company is Hillman from Cincinnati, Ohio, right? Oh, sorry. It's imported by Hillman in Cincinnati, Ohio. Warning, cancer and reproductive harm. Which is funny because you got to put that warning on there because they're gonna sell it in California also, right? But you come around to the other side and you go like, well, Hillman imports this. They're a Cincinnati, Ohio company. And you go over to the other side and, oh, made in China. Sorry, Hecho and China, the Chinos, right? A perfect example. You go to an American store because you want to buy some cup hooks because you need to hang some things. And you go, oh, I'm going to buy these at the American store. Oh, was any of this made in America? Nope, none of it's made in America. And I actually had a customer the other day because I had to do some finished trim on a house, which is like, you know, you go around and put in all the outlet covers and then you put up trim and then you do, you know, you go ahead and you do your caulk. You run your caulk all around. You just run your caulk all around their house, right? But I was going to do all that finish, and this was somebody that was saying that Trump's tariffs are great. These Trump tariffs are awesome. These Trump tariffs are amazing. They're fantastic. They're unbelievable. And I said, okay, challenge accepted. So I went to three different stores. I went to three different hardware stores because I was going to buy out the trim packs for them. And every single store had 0 products made in China or made in the United States. The cover plates need to be on for final occupancy for the house so that people could go inside there and live, right? They're not allowed to go inside. You won't get your occupancy. You won't get your occupancy cert. You won't be able to live in the house if you don't have the finish done, right? So, but every single product that was available at all 3 stores, everything was made in China, whether it be the cover plates for the light switches, whether it be the tubes of caulk. I needed a bunch of big fat tubes of caulk, you know, long, thick tubes of caulk, you know.
Caulk holder.
And yeah, every single thing that I needed to buy. I actually even needed to buy eye protection that day because I lost mine. And my guess was
using it.
I lost it because it was all fucked up and I might have thrown it away, you know? So that was kind of the thing. It was like, you know, I got to buy this eye protection. I need to have some eye protection. You know, certain job sites you go on, you got to have eye protection. And I wonder why. I wonder if it's like the super right-wing fucking freak shows that are like, hey, you know what we should do is we should require people to wear eye protection on job sites. I wonder if that originates from Ronald Reagan. You know, was it Ronald Reagan that said we need eye protection on job sites? Was that the guy? Or was it Ralph Nader? Because I'd argue that it probably was Ralph Nader, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Strangely enough. And I wonder why. And I wonder if it's because, you know, you know, it's just like, you know, these bleeding hearts, you know, these like bleeding hearts. They want to protect people's eyes, but you can't even think about it constructively, like in your mind, when your brain rot is so deep from listening to years of like Rush Limbaugh and Bill O'Reilly and those guys, and then now moving into the insanely brain rotted, ridiculous freak shows like Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan, who have zero actual life experience, which is funny. But they can't think of it in a constructive way to go like, wait a minute, it's actually bad for business when somebody is running a grinding tool into something and the grinding wheel snaps off and the piece flies up and fucks his eye up. And now we got to call the fucking, now we got to call out the ambulance drivers and all sorts of people to come out to the job site to figure out like what the hell's going on after the fact, but let alone just the treating of the injury itself, right? And the loss of productivity from the person that lost their eye, right? You know, like, that guy ain't gonna be working for a while, and even if he does come back, he's only half as good. He can only peripherally see over here on this side now, right? So even if the criticism is that like bleeding heart lib cucks want to stop people from losing their eyes at a job site, I mean, at the very least, you should be able to understand that like job site safety, for instance, just as an example, should exist for the productivity side also, right? Like it's better for business when employees don't get injured by stupid things that are easily preventable. Travis Childress says, can we see the aquariums you're working with? There's one of them right there, right behind me. There's an aquarium right there. And it's cloudy as shit because I was working in there earlier. My sleeves are all wet. I tore out a bunch of stuff out of there, and you know, about halfway through it, I think I'm gonna redo this whole tank. I set this tank up because I had Puffy the Puffer was in there. Puffy the Puffer was in this aquarium, so I set it up as sort of, all right, I got to deal with the fact that I got a puffer fish in here. We want it to be planted. We want it to be a planted tank, but we're going to be dealing with a lot of waste from the fact that we got, you know, a lot of waste from feeding a puffer fish, and the fact that they like crack snails and leave half carcasses of snails all over the place, and feed them bloodworms and feed them all sorts of stuff. You're constantly feeding them, and they're the sloppiest eaters in the world because, you know, aquatic creatures are not good maids, right? They're not good at housekeeping, as it were. Just the same as like if you asked your dog to vacuum the house. I mean, Witchy Cat, what do you think? Is a dog going to vacuum the house?
In the sense that one might like, no.
I mean, like maybe
if you scatter food across the carpet, they will certainly vacuum that up. But
yeah, but they don't even do a good job of like getting all the crumbs and stuff. You know what I mean?
No, right? They do not.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, right? So I had set this tank up for that, and it just continued to have problems, mainly because I wasn't doing like a shitload of maintenance on it. That's the one way that you can sort of like offset all of the waste from the pufferfish. That's the way that you can offset that. And I wasn't doing it. So we got algae, we got things going on, we got stuff going on, which is just a part of having an aquarium anyhow. And frankly, I just was like, yeah, it's fine. Plants are growing. It's all good. A little bit of algae and stuff. But Puffy died like 2 weeks ago, so I've been tearing stuff out and making changes. But I think I'm at the point now where I just want to rescape the whole thing. I just want to redo it. I got that hair. I got that itch.
That urge.
So I'm probably going to end up doing that. But what I want to do is, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to transfer this water into a holding tank, so I don't have to, refill it with a bunch of cold water or heat up and waste a bunch of water. Yeah. What did you end up making out of the wood you cut down on your property? That's a good point. I have a ton of wood from those trees left. Actually, all of the trim in this room. You can actually see some of it like back there. This whole room is trimmed out with Doug fir. Am I happy with it? 70-30. 70-30, I'm happy with it. Piece cracked up there because Doug fir is a softer wood. Piece of it cracked in some spots, but I'm just kind of going with it that it's character, right? But it did save me all the money of buying trim for in here. So I dried it, ran it through my planer, edged it all, put it up. So I made a bunch of that. I made a deck out of it. I made a big firewood storage area out of it.
A video of that, isn't there?
I've got a picnic table that's half built. That I do plan on finishing that in about a month's time. So probably sometime in June, I'm going to finish that picnic table, which is two like monumental mammoth slabs. They're like 4.5, 5 inches thick, and they're like 14 feet long or something like that. And they're split on a bookend, right? So, and that was the base of one of the really, really big trees that we brought down. And then the rest of the base of that big tree, I just cut into big beams and stuff like that. So I have a shitload of beams. And at one point, I'm going to build a deck out of part of it. Some of it's going to turn into like a fancy pergola, but I don't need to do that right now. I just finished 9 raised beds. I just finished 9 raised beds that are, how tall are they? 10, 11, 12. 20, they're 26 inches high, I believe. Hold on. 27 inches tall and 6 feet long and 3 feet wide. So I made 9 of those so far, and I have, how many more do I have to make, Witchy Cat? How many?
At least 5.
Fuck. God. Fucking you bastard. It's at least 5, but I think it's 11 more. I don't know. I've just been building raised boxes. Raised planting beds like it's going out of style on my weekends. And even this last weekend, Vicky was like, why don't you just fucking relax? And I was like, what? Do you want these built? Like, I'll be gone all week. What are you talking about? Like, do you want them built? I have now is when I can do them. And so she wanted me to just chill or whatever. But speaking of chilling, I went to the Lego store with Olivia yesterday. There was like a Girl Scouts thing there. Private event at the Lego store.
Oh.
Absolute chaos, but in a good way. It was fun. We had fun at the Lego store. It was at the mall, Have you ever been to the mall before?
Not in a while.
You know what I'm talking about?
No,
the mall?
I'm not a child of the 80s. I've never been to a mall in my life.
You've never been? Never been?
Teasing.
You remember Orange Julius? Do you remember Orange Julius?
Oh, and Spencer Gifts. And
Orange Julius was the best, bro. I'm telling you. They got to bring that back.
I have a recipe to make them at home. Tastes just like them.
I don't like what you're saying.
Sorry.
I mean, I know you can make them. I want to go get them.
Yeah.
I want to go get an Orange Julius. And by the way, like, I got to show you guys the interior of the Orange Julius was just
so tacky.
It was so hot. What the fuck are you talking about? It's the hot.
Did hotness. You date the Orange Julius girl or something? What the hell?
Did I?
Yeah.
I'm sure I probably did at some point. I mean, at one point, I will say, at the mall, there was a girl at the Baskin Robbins. You remember? You know Baskin Robbins, the ice cream. They got 31 flavors. You know what I'm saying? And as something I will tell you, if you're gonna date an ice cream girl, right? If you're gonna date an ice cream girl, you got to keep in mind. You got to keep something in mind, okay?
Okay, what are we keeping in mind?
That ice cream scooping arm, she's got the fucking kung fu grip. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
She got that ice cream scoop and strong arm. You know. Is there? I'm just trying to find an interior picture. We want to see more of this. We want to see the interiors. The classic.
Stop showing off, Drew.
What happened? They still have Orange
Drew's
Julius
saying.
in Michigan? Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's about time to revisit Michigan. It's been a couple years since I've been there. I got to go back. Got to go back and hang out with them Michiganders. The Michiganders.
Ganders. I always liked Pineapple Julius.
Man, I can't find a good classic interior shot. This shit is all shot on fucking cameras from the 80s. I mean, like, wow. What? People think that this was like how cameras worked back then? Fuck. That's terrible. Is this
and
a good one?
that's where the first little Pizza Hut Expresses were, back when personal pan pizzas were all the rage. Spencer Gifts and Claire's.
They still do they still do personal pizzas. If you want to do a personal pizza, just do Mod Pizza. It's the easiest one to find.
Well, but it's not the same as you know, I've gone and gotten my blacklight poster, and I've bought, you know, 85 pairs of earrings that are going to turn my ears green in a day and a half. And I stopped by Tower Records and Orange Julius, and now I want a pan pizza from the food court.
It kind of was a big deal with the pan pizza, but you guys know I'm a big fan of Pagliacci's, man, because they got the slice out there, dude. They got the slice. You know what I'm saying? You can just roll up
I was
and get
Indiana,
a slice.
not Seattle. There was no slices.
Yeah, I don't know. Pagliacci didn't exist back then, but I'm saying they got Pagliacci now, and you can just bust in there and get yourself a slice, and you can just pick out. You know, you're like, do I want cheese or the daily special or the whatever? You know, they got like 4 pizzas out there.
I do miss the Pagliacci's.
And it's thin crust. It's the big downside. The big downside to Pizza Hut is always kind of the Chicago knockoff, right? Where they're like, you know, we do the greasy pan. You know, we got those cast iron pans. We drop a little grease in there, and then we throw our pie in that greasy pan and chuck it in there. And it's one of the few things I agree with Dave Portnoy, is that undercarriage has got to be dry and bring some crisp to the undercarriage of the pizza, because I feel like Pizza Hut was always doing that thing that like that grease underneath it was like like you got really grease on both sides, bro. Like we don't need this much grease, you know.
That's where all the flavor is, man.
Oh shit! Nobody hit the like button today. We're fucking screwed. We did get a $5 super chat.
Not true. I liked and chatted.
You gotta up your fucking YouTube game. Okay, you can't just you gotta yes and. You know what I mean? You're right. 4 likes is ridiculous.
Well, that's true.
You gotta start explaining to me about how you hit the like button. That's not gonna work. I'm just giving you a hard time, but yeah, we'll yes and next week, right?
All right, I'll be ready.
Dude just got here. Beef jerky is hilarious. Yep, beef jerky is hilarious. Agreed. I don't know why.
No, I was just saying that RFK looks like beef jerky.
Oh, he does look like beef jerky. And by the way, like when he's under oath, he actually says no one should take any kind of medical advice from him. I don't know if anybody picked up on that. I don't know if anybody picked up on the fact that he was saying no one should be taking medical advice from him. Hold on. Let me find the clip. Let me find the clip for you.
There weren't 8,000 memes about that or anything. He's such a dick. God, that man. But, you know, he swam in sewage, so.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the nation's top health.
Just play the clip.
Secretary Robert.
Geez, this has got to be news.
Heard in the
Something that might be helpful is you've previously said you've vaccinated your children. Just because I think this is a helpful answer, and this isn't a gotcha, I promise. If you had a child today, would you vaccinate that child for measles?
For measles, probably for measles. What I would say is my opinions about vaccines are irrelevant. I have directed Jay Bhattacharya.
Sure. No, like I said, I don't want to.
So that everybody can make that decision. But I don't want to seem like I'm being evasive.
Yeah.
But I don't think people should be taking medical advice from me.
Right. No, I got that. And I'm not asking you to give the medical advice, but would you vaccinate?
From the guy who's written books about not taking vaccines based on bullshit science that has been refuted over and over and over again, as just made up nonsense, right? And he's saying that you shouldn't take medical advice from me except for the books that I've released, right? That contain medical advice.
He has the weirdest voice. He's so strange.
He has a medical condition that causes that. I think it has something to do with the fact that I'm just speculating here. That has something to do with the fact that he has brain worms from eating fucking roadkill off the side of the road.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he wrote a book called "The Wuhan Cover-Up and Terrifying Bioweapons Arms Race." Didn't he write a book about Fauci, about how Fauci is a bad guy?
He did.
Like, wrote a whole book about it, right? So this guy's like, he's saying, don't take no one should take medical advice from me when he's sitting in front of Congress under oath, right? This is the difference between these guys. This is what one of the things that people need to start fundamentally understanding is that these people are able to go on the news. They're able to go on Fox News or whatever trash fucking shithole you're watching. And they're able to say nonsense, right? Because there's no legal repercussion. Like the Aaron Studio guy was saying that you couldn't talk about anything before, but you can now, right? And it's like, what do you think? Google has gone through some kind of different ownership or something? Like, they're owned by the same people, and they don't care, and they never have cared,
if anything, Google wants you to say more stupid shit, not less.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. But the reality's sake is that these people will go on TV and there's no repercussions to what they're saying because there's nothing legally binding them against lying when they go on Fox News, right? There's potentially a situation where you could get sued for libel, right? Now, if I say that, like, RFK is a fucking idiot, there isn't any libel there, right? So, I mean, I guess you could launch a lawsuit against me. I don't know. Like, you potentially could. You could threaten a lawsuit or whatever. But there's no jail time. This isn't jail time. But when you go in front of Congress and knowingly lie, there is jail time. There is jail time on the line because you are potentially perjuring, right? Committing perjury, which is a crime. That's the big, vast difference. It's like if you go listen to their statements when they're on Fox News and then you go look at their statements when they're under oath, right? They're completely different. They're heads and tails. And it's pretty strange. But I'm jealous that they still have Orange Julius in Michigan. To go back to what we were talking about, the most important thing that we were talking about today. Well,
actually, they combined with DQ. It's owned by the same people. He's right. And the other thing that they also own is Long John Silver's, because there was a couple of places in Missouri.
Man, I know. I'm gonna tell you something. I do not eat at Diarrhea Queen. I do not do that.
Yeah,
I do not eat there. I got rules. And one of them, one of my rules is don't eat at Diarrhea Queen.
It's not real ice cream anyway, so there's no big surprise there.
No, those soft serve machines. Oh my God, no way.
It's just oil and air. I've never heard anyone disparage DQ though. You've achieved a first.
What's that? Well, I mean, the reality is you go to Diarrhea Queen, and you get yourself a hot milkshake, and you get yourself a cold burger and some greasy old cold fries, and then get food poisoning from it the next day. Yeah, I mean, I would say that it's otherwise like I don't go there. I gave Dairy Queen the chance. You know what I mean? Like I gave him a shot a few times. One time I went in there and there was like flies inside Dairy Queen. You know what I mean? Like house flies.
That's not cool.
Like buzzing around, you know, and the people working there were like, yeah, hi, do you want a burger or whatever? And it's like, no, I changed my mind. I left my pants somewhere else. I got to go, you know.
My pants in my wallet. I have to go. All right.
Drew Turner says, using the old Joe Rogan way to duck responsibility, won't be long until RFK says he's a comedian, and no one should listen to him for anything. Yeah, the problem is that you're published, bro. You know what I mean? Like, RFK's published books about this shit. So it's like, you can't just sit back and just be like, I'm just a guy who's just asking questions. It's like, you've published your conclusions, right? It's not a matter of like, oh, I'm over here just jacking off, JAQ, right? Just asking questions, jacking off. Like, I'm just out here jacking off, guys. Don't worry. I'm just a guy who's just asking questions. You know, I'm just looking for the truth. And it's like, no. Because you've already published conclusions, right? That's not somebody that's looking for truth. That's you supposedly asked some questions. You supposedly gathered some information, you somehow compiled them into a thing that needed to be published, and then you published it to the world in exchange for money, right? Like you go, here's my findings, this is what I have found, give me money for it, right? That's the big vast difference. That's the big vast difference between guys like RFK and Joe Rogan. Is that like Joe Rogan does still, for however broken his brain is, he still is able to throw the shroud of, I'm just a comedian who just talks to Jordan Peterson 4 times a week or whatever, and has dinner parties with Ben Shapiro and all these fucking whack jobs, and I'm just a comedian. What do I know? He always talks about how he's part Neanderthal or whatever. And just jokes about like, oh, I'm just so stupid. Why would anybody listen to me? And it's like, because you have 20 million people listening to you now sort of garners a little bit of, it garners like a little bit of responsibility, right? But RFK, like I said, he already has published his conclusions, right? That's the big difference. If we could just make sure so many MAGA sorts watch their congressional testimonies, they'll never watch them. They will absolutely, the MAGA people will not watch the congressional hearings. They do not watch them. Their feed when they go onto TikTok, their feed when they go onto Instagram, their feed when they go onto Snapchat, when they go onto YouTube, when they go onto the Facebook, all of these social media sites are 100% curated to only feeding them. Look at us. We owned Elizabeth Warren. We got her. Elizabeth Warren has $1 million.
Yeah, they're there for the commentary, not the actual facts.
Yeah, they don't actually want to hear what any of these people are testifying about. But that's again and again and again and again. If you actually go watch the congressional hearings, these people fall down and fold over like a fucking like a paper mache, right? They just fold over because they don't have any truth behind them. They have nonstop rhetoric, nonsensical rhetoric too, by the way. When you start to actually analyze what these people are talking about, you just realize it's just a bunch of jargon designed to fucking trick people. There's no coincidence in my mind that the most of the people that are backing this authoritarian fucking, Fourth Reich situation here, are people that believe in an imaginary fucking sky daddy. You know, we were talking about it earlier today that like how absurd is it that like Jehovah's Witnesses still exist, right? We recently had somebody that like went to a Jehovah Witness funeral. It was like somebody they knew, and they brought it up, and you know, we talked about it for a minute, and it was like the patent absurdity of believing in a religion that your God isn't even powerful enough to have a heaven big enough to house all of the people, right? Like, only 144,000 people are allowed to enter the Jehovah's Witnesses heaven.
Which is 100,000 more than I thought it was. For some reason, I thought it was only 44,000. So, okay.
It's 144,000. That's it. It's limited. Which is why I went to go look up a stadium that held 144,000 people. Now, the closest thing I could find was the Holmen Kolbakken. I don't know. I'm saying that 100% wrong. But in Oslo, Norway, there's a ski jump. There's a ski jump where they held the Olympics at it, right? And it has a capacity of 143,000 people. So 143,000 people will be able to go watch people ski jump, and this gives you an idea of this is how big the heaven is in. This is it. This is all they got. This is all the Jehovah's Witnesses capacity is just this ski jump event in Norway, which I kept saying Sweden because I'm stupider than stupid. So, you know, don't worry, guys. I'm just a comedian. I'm just a comedian fish guy. So, what do I know? What do I know? I don't know anything. I don't know. Somebody call Joey Diaz. Have him come over. You know. But, yeah, apparently this is Sky Daddy Jehovah's Witnesses will dedicate their whole lives of faith to potentially being one of these 144,000 people. And that's it. That's all. That's all their God. Their God is only as powerful as building the ski jump place in Norway. That's it. That's all that their God can do. That's all the housing that they can handle.
More exciting than your original comparison of the Alabama.
Well, I had to look up the Alabama. So Alabama, Ohio, Texas. Hold on. For SEC football, I think Ohio has the biggest one.
Ohio State.
Oh, we need. Here's what we need to do. We need to look up. Did somebody just message me? Don't message me. Don't do it. Don't you fucking do it. Oh, great. The Wang Janglers will be late. Okay. Well, whatever. That's tomorrow's problem. Here we go. So, yeah, Michigan Stadium is 107,000. Beaver Stadium is 106,000. Ohio is 102. Sorry, is that the Ohio State? Yeah, there we go. Texas A&M is 102. What the fuck is Alabama's? I thought Alabama's. Oh, Alabama's is 100,000. 100,000. So I was like, yeah, I remember Alabama has a big stadium. Oh, the Cotton Bowl is only 92,000.
So Michigan has Orange Julius and the bigger stadium.
Just
Gosh,
for
Drew,
college football. The biggest stadium, I forget. I'm gonna have to look it up again. It was like a motorsports.
like a NASCAR stadium. That sounds.
The Grotto is the newest one now in North Korea. What? It's probably the worst one, even though it's the biggest.
Okay. Is there a lot of motorsportsing in North Korea? Okay.
No, that one is different. Oh, so we got it was something I looked up earlier that was like oh no, it's the Rung Grotto has been passed up by Narendra Modi Stadium, which I'll give you one guess where that is.
No clue.
Narendra Modi.
It's Italy.
Modi.
Okay.
Who the fuck?
Modi?
What country is run by a guy named Modi?
I apparently have lost my mind because I do not know.
You're slowly dying out there in the cold. India.
Not cold.
India.
Oh, India. Okay.
Yeah, what the hell happened? What happened to you? What happened to you? Did you not sleep last night?
I did actually.
Okay, so I don't know what's going on. I keep getting different answers from this. But one of them I looked up earlier was a motorsports. There's a motorsports one, and I can't remember the name of it now. That had like 400,000 that would go to it, and now I'm not getting it.
All right.
Now I'm not getting it because now it's giving me stadiums. I don't know what I looked up before. I must have looked up stadiums. But Michigan Stadium's the 4th biggest in the world, so there you go. Right? It's pretty big.
Not small.
Oh, the Czech Republic has the Strahov Stadium, which seats 220,000.
Damn.
So apparently the Czech Republic's bringing it in super hard, but the Narendra Modi Stadium is 130,000. So, but Czech Republic's apparently winning it. They're winning it hard. Yep, the echo chamber they accuse everyone else of. Yeah, that's the thing. It's one of the things that I find to be the most comically funny thing when I talk to these fucking MAGA weirdos. That I do know some MAGA weirdos. If you guys don't think I do, you'd be mistaken. But I'll have conversations with them, and they'll be like, you need to get out of your echo chamber. And I'm like, dude, you spent all week listening to local talk radio freaks, Fox News freaks, Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson. So cool. Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? And first and foremost, I would like to remind people, I listen to those people too, because I want to know the fucking nonsense that they're talking about. So I don't know that there is somewhat of an echo chamber that I live in the fact that like, I do limit my exposure, as it were, because I don't want to catch cancer from the toxic MAGA people. You know what I mean? I don't know. I was listening to RFK last week, and he was talking about that. I'm just kidding, but
there's a difference between listening and conversing. So
right. Well, I mean, I have MAGA people over for dinner sometimes.
You eat them?
What's that?
Oh, okay. I said you eat them? Never mind. Go on.
No, I don't eat them. I don't eat people for dinner. No.
Okay. Well.
I'm not allowed.
Oh. All right. Well. That's
I'm saying it's the ultimate. It's the ultimate prey, right?
Well, people are the other white meat.
Yeah, so. They're long pig.
That's right.
Yeah.
The other white meat.
The cannibals call people long pig.
Yes.
they realized, like, the cannibals realized a long time ago, you got to go low and slow in a hole. You know what I mean? You got
That's
to.
what those raised beds actually are.
Well, those would
People
burn.
smokers.
They're made out of wood, so they're not for
Oh,
that.
well,
No,
all right, never mind.
no, I don't.
No.
No, I have a big steel trough buried in the ground for that. No, what the fuck were we talking about? Anyhow, the echo chamber stuff. Yes, I do have mega people over, and I do talk to them. And the funny thing is I'm always told, like, you're in an echo chamber, dude. Like you're so deeply in an echo chamber, and it's just the absolute self-own, right? It's the absolute self-own. It's the projection. It's the pointing that, I'm like, who the fuck have you talked to in the last 2 months between the last time we had a conversation, right? It's like you talk to the weird church people that believe in Sky Daddy, right? They believe that, like, Santa Claus living in the sky exists, and they meet up with them. They don't even meet up with them weekly because they're not even really good at believing it, because I think deep down they know it's bullshit, right? So they definitely don't show up on time every week to their Sky Daddy worship thing, especially if there's like if there's a good golf course and they got a tee time, they definitely aren't showing up to their magical Sky Daddy thing. Yep. They aren't doing that because tee time. We gotta golf. And they talk to a few people that they work with, which more often than not sort of self-select for a specific attitude, right? So let's say you work at a plumbing company and there's 13 people that work there. More often than not, the people that are going to end up spending years at that company are ones that are essentially beholden to the exact same value similarly, right? Because the last thing that you would want is the conflict of women's rights at your fucking plumbing company. Like, ugh, gross. Ugh, right? What, woman plumber? Ugh.
Female plumbing. Oh, no. In all its various forms.
Right? And they just, like, start shitting and pissing themselves, right? Yeah, and so what ends up happening is, and then let's continue down the line here. And then they interacted with their kids, who there's an obvious power dynamic there. You tell your kids what to believe or not, right? They interact with their spouse, who obviously decided to have sex with them, so clearly they're pretty much beholden to everything that they say, believe, or whatever. And oftentimes, if we're talking about dudes, which I currently am, they hold a power dynamic over a lot of their wives, right? Because they're forcing them to this weird traditional, the trad wife thing is super popular again, which, by the way, it's not super popular with women, by the way. It's just OnlyFans for fucking Christian girls, who, by the way, probably aren't even Christian girls, realistically. They just realized that they could dress up in a certain outfit and make TikToks that will appeal to fucking dumb dudes. Like, you're being taken advantage of, you fucking idiots. What is wrong with you?
They have a reason to make lots of bread. Anyway.
But they're going to force that onto their wives. Then let's see, who else do they have contact with? Purveyors, right? So if they're buying parts from somebody or whatever, like the people that work at the parts house are, you're a customer. So they're just going to let you fucking be whatever. What are you going to get? What are you going to get pushback from the guy at the fucking parts store about your weird fucking distorted political views? Nope. They're probably just going to be like, yes, sir, here's your order. Okay, cool. And they're going to have a fucking 30-second interaction with you. That's it.
Yes.
Right? Then they're going to fucking get in their car, turn on the fucking weird Rush Limbaugh version 2.0 or 3.0 now. Listen to that. Where are these echo chamber people just running into so much conflict where they're able to stress test their weird ideals, right? Where are they stress testing their ideas? Where in their life are they doing that, right? On the weekend, they go to a sports game that their kid's playing in. They have an 8-year-old that is playing in fucking T-ball. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Start up a conversation with me where I'm going to fucking break your worldview, right? Over the next 3 hours? Because the shit that you're fucking spewing is just made up, right? No, you're probably not going to do that. And I know this for a fact because my daughter has friends and people that I have straight up brought up to them, like, what the fuck are you talking about right now? And damn straight, I'm that guy. I'm the dad at the thing that will be like, you don't believe in women's rights at the kid's birthday party, right? You know, I'll do that. You know why? Because I'm not going to live in fucking shame or fear or fucking whatever. Like, I'll be confrontational with people about stuff. Like, I'm not going to start a fight with somebody or whatever. But it's completely insane for you to be walking around with these insane beliefs and no one, you know, like, oh, I guess, well, whatever, man. We don't need to talk with fucking Mark. Mark's just, you know, he's just too far gone. It's not true. It's not true. The problem is they're not being confronted by people that actually care for them, you know? Yep. They're not being confronted by somebody who actually compassionately goes, hey, man, you've been tricked. You've been tricked by people that are telling you something. You've been tricked by people that are telling you some shit, and they're not even remotely being held to the fire at all about these ideas. And the reason I bring that up is in context to RFK. If you look at RFK when he's on Fox News or whatever, he says whatever the fuck he wants. When he's in a press meeting where the press people ask him questions, he generally says whatever the fuck he wants. But put him in front of Congress where he's sworn and could be perjuring himself, suddenly he says, oh, no one should take medical advice from me.
Yep.
Also, not to mention the fact that he's publishing books about this shit, too. And I think that here's the reality. People are not too far gone, right? Not until they actually drink the Kool-Aid and die.
That's it.
Right? Death is the end. This is the only time you ever get to be here. This is the only time you ever get to be involved in this planet, right? The moment you actually drink that Kool-Aid and you put on the white shoes or whatever the fuck shoes those guys wore, drink that Kool-Aid and go off into the nether, right?
Into the jungle.
Then you're gone. And that's it. And your legacy will be, wow. Mark had a couple kids. I guess he worked a job, otherwise known as a total piece of shit by everybody. People were sad for a week, and then they went back to doing everything that they were doing before. Right?
Yeah.
I cannot imagine a world, and by the way, I have seen this. I have seen this in person. The reason I'm kind of talking about the funeral thing is that it has context in things that I've seen. I have gone to funerals where people are just sort of there, right? They're just sort of there because of social pressure says, my wife said we had to come here, so we're here. We'll be here for 20 minutes, and then we got to go. We got some other things we got to go do. Like clean their gutters or something, you know?
Right.
And the reality is, the last thing that anyone in this life where you singularly have been granted the ability to have consciousness, to be waiting around and feeling the world around you, and then lo and behold, the only people that are at your funeral are the people that were just forced to be there, essentially, right?
Yeah. It's the proper thing to do.
It's wild. It's wild to think, wow. Yeah, I guess some people will be at that guy's funeral. I don't even know if anybody will be crying. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they'll really be that upset. It's just kind of like, well, that's the end of Mark. Bye, Mark. See you later. fucking, I guess it's a bummer. I don't know. We got to hire somebody at the company now or whatever, right? Like that's like the worst part of it.
Right. He was such a good worker. Okay, that's what he wanted to be known for. Glad you called it. Not.
Oh, Skogs is here. What's up, buddy? I joined this at a very strange time. It's always a strange time. You hop into this stream, you're hopping into something strange, I'm sure. To Europeans, what's up, Mickham? What's up, buddy? To Europeans, most people / media in the U.S. are so unbalanced, believing beyond belief, and it's been going on for at least 40 years. Most seem to be super divided. How many % of you watch neutral news? I have to return you to... We got to figure out exactly what year this is. I will return you to the Fairness Doctrine. This is United States history. We have to figure out the exact year that the Fairness Doctrine was overturned. So, the Fairness Doctrine, enforced by the Federal Communications Commission, was rooted in the media world of 1949. Lawmakers became concerned that the monopoly audience control of the three main networks, NBC, ABC, and CBS, could misuse their broadcast licenses to set a biased public agenda. The Fairness Doctrine mandated broadcast networks devote time to contrasting views on issues of public importance. Congress backed the policy in 1954, and by the 1970s, the FCC called the doctrine the single most important requirement of operation in the public interest. The Supreme Court upheld the doctrine in 1969's Red Lion Broadcasting Company versus FCC. Journalist Fred Cook sued Pennsylvania Christian Crusade radio program after a radio host attacked him on air. In a unanimous decision, the Supreme Court upheld Cook's right to an on-air response under the Fairness Doctrine, arguing that that nothing in the First Amendment gives a broadcast license holder the exclusive right to the airwaves they operate on. The doctrine stayed in effect and was enforced until the Reagan administration. In 1985, under FCC Chairman Mark S. Fowler, a communications attorney who had served on Ronald Reagan's presidential campaign staff in 1976 and 1980, the FCC released a report stating that the doctrine hurt the public interest and violated free speech rights guaranteed by the First Amendment. Fowler began rolling the application of the doctrine back during Reagan's second term, despite complaints from some in the administration that it was all that kept broadcasting journalists from thoroughly lambasting Reagan's policies on air. In 1987, the FCC panel under new chairman Dennis Patrick repealed the Fairness Doctrine altogether with a 4-0 vote. As you can see, we're coming up on close on the 40-year anniversary of the Ronald Reagan administration butt-fucking the world once again with overturning the Fairness Doctrine, which was a vital and important doctrine to maintaining some sanity within our republic here, right? Like,
Yep.
this was vitally important, and I have watched this throughout my lifetime. When I was a little kid, you could watch the news, and it was Walter Cronkite would tell you about a thing that happened. This is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And then move on to the next thing, right?
Yep.
As those journalists died off, the next breed that came in would tell you a thing happened, and now here's why it happened, right?
Yep.
Is it because of Soros or the WTO or whatever? You would then start to get the opinion piece. And the reason for that, it's the same reason anybody's here watching this stream right now, is because people want to hear other people's opinions. People want to hear other people's, like, How are you sorting through this in your mind? Because the reason for that is we are extremely social creatures. The only reason that humans exist in the world that we exist right now is because of collaboration. We collaborate together in order to make the world a better place because we are 100% dependent as a social creature, right? There is no world where the one man picks himself up by his bootstraps and singularly makes his way in the world. It does not fucking exist. I've had so many goddamn debates about it. It's mind-boggling because there is no world where a guy digs up his own earth, separates his own ore to create his own iron, to then eventually add some aluminum to it to make steel or whatever the fuck all that list of how to make metals goes together, so that he could eventually produce a car, so that he could do that. None of that shit happens. None of that does not exist. That does not exist. The rugged individualism does not exist. I do a ton of shit. I do a ton of stuff. People have asked me over the years, more times than I can fucking count. They're like, how do you do all this stuff? And I'm like, well, you just do a little bit here and a little bit there, and then you do the other thing, and then I don't know. I do not do any of this shit by myself in some sort of vacuum of space. It does not exist. I have never built a camera. Well, here's an example. I've never built a camera from the ground up. I've never done that. Why would I do that? There's a guy who, not a guy, shitloads of people that have worked to build that technology of the computer or of the camera, the computer. Well, computer also. To get to the point where you're able to put a battery in it, put a SIM card in it, and then go film your fucking fish tank or a lion at the zoo. I got to take pictures of pandas recently. Are they the best pictures you've ever seen? Absolutely not. But it's the only time in my life I will ever be able to take a picture of a panda, and it's because I was in Washington, D.C., because the Chinese government lent the United States some pandas. They are on lease. We are leasing the pandas. And I happened to be in Washington, D.C. at the time. I was flown out there by pilots in airplanes that I had 0.000% to do with designing or executing an airplane, right? This whole entire world operates on the fact that humans are collaborating together, right? And to circle back to the reason I brought that up is the fairness doctrine was overturned because what was then added to news was people's opinion, because people want to hear other people's opinions, because you want to go, am I taking crazy pills? Am I out of my fucking mind that this thing seems nuts, right? And I would like some reassurance that I am not crazy and maybe I can just keep living and I'm not going to be put on one of those airplanes, shipped off to another country to be put into a fucking prison where the people who run the prison say you only get out of this prison in a body bag. That's how they're promoting that prison. So if you're asking me that deporting people to another country into a prison where they say that, you're sending these people to death. You're sending these people to death in the future. Like, you're too much of a bitch to just start executing people right now, right? You want to do it later and somewhere else where it's out of sight, because you don't want to butcher your own chickens because it's scary and gross. You don't want to butcher your own cow or make your own fucking burgers from scratch, right? You don't want to do any of that shit. I'll just ship it off somewhere else, out of sight, out of mind. Someone else will do the dirty work for me, which is just about as American as you could get, right? And then turn around and start blaming everyone else, right? These fucking immigrants are blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. It's the people that you are fucking electing that are doing this shit to you, right? They are. And it started with the fucking Ronald Reagan administration 45 years ago. It actually started before that, by the way. And it's been ongoing and perverted to the point of where it is now, where these fucking people have gotten to the point where a guy like my dad, who did his time in fucking Vietnam, who was there when people fucking died. He was there when his ship exploded, dedicated that time to this country, and was taught in the U.S. military to just stay apolitical. Don't pick a side. Just stay apolitical. Your vote is a secret. Your affiliation is a secret. The U.S. military pounds that 100% into the people that go through the U.S. military. And my dad lived his life that way. My dad lived however many fucking years. I can't even do the math. It's so many, right? Lived all of these years not kicking up a fuss, kicking up a big stink, starting a big problem about nothing. And I will tell you something. My dad, of all fucking people, has started going to anti-Trump marches.
Yep.
Okay?
Go, Dad.
This is wild. This is wild. My dad has taken a stance on certain things at certain times and said some stuff in certain areas, but he has never been a guy who's like, I'm a Clinton guy, or I'm a Reagan guy, or I'm a this, or I'm a that. I don't even know his voting record. If I had to say his voting record, I could probably go through the years and parse them out as mostly Republican guys, probably some Democrat.
Right.
He's definitely a guy who will probably, this person seems unreasonable, I'm not voting for them. This guy seems like, oh, maybe he's got his head screwed on straight, I'll vote for that guy. You know, did my dad vote for Hillary Clinton? I don't know. I've never even asked him. I don't know if I want to know the answer, right? My guess would be probably not. But my dad has been paying attention to the point now that he's actually going to fucking anti-Trump marches in person, to let people know that this is absurd. That the absurdity and the bastardization and the disgusting fucking destruction that is happening to our country right in front of our faces is too far. Because you've brought a guy that already was in a war, right? You brought a guy that was already in a war, has motivated a guy who's already been to war to now come back and start going to war again.
That's why I invited Drew. Drew
So,
is of
if we
same
want to talk
background.
about people are too far gone. People are too far. It's, you know, there's no hope, right? I never thought that my dad would get motivated on any political anything, okay?
Right.
I mean, he's, like I said, he's spent his time in his life being apolitical, not starting big arguments with people. You know, I don't know how much I'm like both of my parents. I'm obviously a different person when you combine their genetics together. I don't know if I need just birds and bees, you guys. I don't know if you guys need the birds and bees. Hold on. Before we get into the birds and the bees, I will remind you that the female orgasm is not a myth. It's not a myth. And in case you're out there and you need to do some, you're a lady and you want to discover it yourself, you can go over here to Amazon for, this one's apparently $29.99, and get yourself a fucking vibrator and find out if it actually is a myth. Because you might be stuck out there with a Jehovah's Witness husband who goes hammer town on you for 30 seconds through a hole in a sheet or whatever you fucking weirdos do. A couple clicks on Amazon, you'll be able to test her out. Test her out, give it a try. Fucking shit's hot pink. Nobody knows what's going on. Anyhow, we get a commission if you go there and buy vibrators from Amazon. I don't know. If you don't want me to advertise your vibrators on Amazon, maybe don't sell them on Amazon, but they're on there. And there's much more graphic shit that I could be sharing with you that is for sale on Amazon, I will tell you. Anyhow, like I was saying, I don't think anybody's too far gone. It's impossible. It's impossible to believe that, right? One of the most insane extreme examples I will be able to give you for that is Ted Bundy. Okay? I don't like Ted Bundy. I'm glad he's dead. I don't want him fucking wandering around anywhere. As a matter of fact, the house that we owned before this house was close enough you could drive to Ted Bundy's childhood house pretty quickly. So, you know, local serial killer, a guy who's murdering people in all the most disgusting ways. I even believe that he had didn't he save somebody's head and go talk to it? I don't know. The most disgusting guy that you could think of, you know, contextually in modern times. One of them, not all of, you know, not the, right? Who holds the, you know. But that guy somehow on death row fell in love with a lady and got her pregnant and had a kid, and by all sort of
machinations.
Well, by all sort of like outside reporting, like from the prison guards and those kinds of people and stuff, they were like, he actually seemed to care deeply about them, right? And the thing is that he always kept telling people that, like, I never did any of this. I never did any of this. And when he knew the end was getting near, you can go listen to some of the tapes where he actually did admit all of the stuff, right? And the thing is that, once again, to circle back to the RFK thing, Ted Bundy, like RFK, will lie until they're put to the fire. And then all of a sudden, oh, here's the actual thing that happened. Right. And to the point, to that point, I am surrounded. I am constantly dealing with, consistently answering questions for, working with people that are making the most dramatic changes in their lives, where they are no longer going to drink alcohol. They're no longer going to take drugs into their bodies. And they've done any level of disgusting thing that you could think of if you want to talk about it, in order to have gotten alcohol and drugs. And recovery is 100% possible. It's 100% something that exists. I mean, I personally am a testimonial to 4,025 days that I've been sober, which is a little over 11 years. And
so
it's 100% possible. There never was going to be a different option for me before I got sober, right? It wasn't even a thing. Like, you could have just been talking about flying purple elephants or whatever, right? But 11 years and 6 days ago, I made a change, and I started going to meetings with people that had also made a change, right? I met some people, and I went to meetings, and I talked to them, and we worked through problems that I was having. It's essentially like free therapy, realistically. It's the therapy process, but it's operated by non-doctors, right? Although one of my groups actually had a doctor in it. How cool is that, right? So all of this shit, truth be told, is possible. Redemption is possible. Forgiveness is possible, 100%. You know, part of getting sober is you have to make an amends list, which my first sponsor, who was kind of a fucking jackwagon, I'll be honest with you, which is why he was no longer my sponsor, was getting very upset about my extraordinarily lengthy list of amends. He was like, "This is fucking ridiculous. This is a spiral notebook of people you got to talk." I'm like, "Yeah, well, which my next sponsor was like, it's as long as it's got to be, man. If you need more spiral notebooks, we'll get them, you know." So it definitely does take it definitely does take that. Like, it's probably going to have to be the right person. It's probably going to have to be somebody who's open and willing to work, right? And willing to not necessarily work, but willing to work through, right? Like, there's two completely different things. You know, it's like if you have a big blowout fight with your wife, you know, and she's upset and you're upset, and you take a step back and you take a breather for an hour, and then you're like, hey, you know, we need to come back together and figure out like what the fuck's going on here, and have a different perspective on things. You're definitely probably going to get heated conversations with certain people, right? You're going to have, well, I can't because I can't, blah, 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 right? I can't this because I that, right? I can't do this because of that. I can't, you know, and you're going to hear that. You're going to hear that over and over again from Trump people. You're going to find every excuse. Oh, that's ridiculous. You're like a ridiculous asshole, blah, 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 right? You're going to hear that kind of shit too. And you're going to run into that over and over and over again. But the reality is that if we can't be supportive for the people around us, the reason that I would make fun of Aaron's studio earlier for being a fucking asshole is that, first of all, you're in my YouTube chat. I don't know you from Adam, right? I don't know who the fuck you are. I've met some of the people in my YouTube chat, but I don't know who that person is, right? I'm in no way obligated to be respectful to a person I've never met in my YouTube chat, and I don't feel that obligation either, right? And first and foremost, I would say we don't even know if that person's a bot. We don't even know if that's just an AI chat bot posting shit in my chat, right? Have you talked to an AI chat bot lately? OpenAI, for instance? You can just have a conversation with them. And by the way, they're glazing the fuck out of people. They're telling people that they're so smart. Oh my God, you're so insightful. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. Like, your IQ has got to be so high, which is crazy. Fucking, you got a goddamn bot giving you compliments, and you're feeling fucking swole up right now. Like, that ain't good. But I don't have any obligation to that. But I do have obligation to a lot of people that I know personally, and personally have gone down this crazy rabbit hole. And you know what? And sometimes you're like, I just need to take a break from this person. I need to, I'll talk to him in a couple weeks. I can't deal with this right now. But the bigger thing that's going to happen, and the thing that I really want people to pay attention to, if you are, in any way realizing that this current administration is the biggest disaster that the United States has ever faced, is that these people will run into something that is a bridge too far, right? There will be something. They're currently trying to overturn habeas corpus, right? That is going to be a bridge too far for a lot of people. That's going to be far too crazy for a lot of people. And my current position is that you don't necessarily need to provide a soft landing for the biggest assholes who have been screaming and buying Chinese-made fucking Trump paraphernalia for the last fucking 8 years. But you do need to provide some kind of landing, right? And have a little bit of respect for the fact that they are humans, that they are actual people, that they do make mistakes, that they do get roped into a group, right? They do get roped into a group that accepts them and provides them a lot of that social cohesion that we require as a species, right? Like, we don't have humans at all if we don't have a society that's working together. We don't have it. We would all long be extinct. And if you don't believe me, go try the bootstrap thing where you're going to start digging up digging up dirt in your backyard to make some iron, or to make some steel, or to make some brass, or to make some components for your computer. Just start that project today. Get back to me next week and let me know how it's going. And that grim realization is going to come across your face at some point that, holy shit, I can't do this on my own. And you aren't going to be able to do it on your own.
Yeah.
Let's see. What did Drew say? Believers, though, are part of two lanes, those that can easily be led by faith and the grifters that lead them. Sadly, here in the U.S., we are in this mess because of those grifters and their followers. We won't ever have a truly educated leader when religion plays a role in government. A big part of the veteran community have been protesting Trump. Yeah. So here's the deal. I don't disagree with your statement. I don't disagree with what you're saying. But if those people are going to be swayed so blatantly by the grifters that are tricking them into these views, right? Well, a perfect example today would be like sharing RFK telling Congress, right, that no one should be taking medical advice from him, right? Those things are slowly but surely start to come to light. And another good example would be the Democrats kept bringing up in the Senate, no new taxes or no tax breaks for anybody that makes, or no new tax breaks for anybody that makes over $10 million a year. All the Republicans voted against it. No new tax cuts for anybody that makes over $50 million a year. All the Republicans, this went on and on and on until they got to $1 billion. And all of the Republicans voted against it, against outlawing more tax cuts for anybody that's making over $1 billion. Now, the MAGA people I talk to will say, well, the billionaires pay more taxes than anybody else, right? Because they're like, oh, the proportion of the taxes that they pay is more than anybody else, blah, blah, blah. Which is,
right.
Well, it's because you're taking a fact that there is a big group of taxes coming from a certain group of people, right? Like, oh, look at this big number. But you're going to completely take out of context all of the other taxes that are taken in throughout the United States. Sales tax, property tax, state income tax, all the insurance, crazy fucking insurance fees and taxes that you're paying. Just a litany of taxes that the lower class does pay, even though we do get a return when it comes to our federal income tax, sure. But the reason that we get those tax breaks in the lower income bracket down here at the bottom is because we're already paying all these other taxes, right? Yep. And as a proportion of our income, we get fucked by usage taxes. That's the reason, right? Like, Jeff Bezos isn't being taxed proportionally at a high rate because he doesn't buy anything. He's one guy, right? Yep. He doesn't buy anything. Everything that he procures is purchased with loan money. So he's not paying any taxes on the loan money because he's not buying anything. And it's a big, vast difference. That guy can only eat so much food, right? He makes however many billions of dollars a year. He can't eat $1 billion worth of food. But if you're a family of 5, husband, wife, 3 kids, and you make $48,000 a year, you probably could eat $48,000 worth of food.
Yeah, pretty
right?
easily.
And one of the big reasons is that we have those breaks for the lower earning class is because we don't want people to live lives of abject desperation because we've already had a Great Depression here. We've already had people living in abject poverty. We know what that is. We have a small percentage of our population that is homeless, and every Republican will screech and scream and fucking lose their minds about solving the homeless problem. But then when it comes to talk about something completely reasonable like taxing the corporations, taxing these oligarch entities that we're fucking dealing with on a daily basis, like the grocery stores, suddenly we're accosting everything that you've ever believed in your entire life, right? Except for the fact
You're blocking capitalism.
Well, yeah, except for the fact that we're talking about American-born policies, okay? American-born policies of 91% income tax rates on the fucking wealthy in the United States. Guess where that came from? That policy came from the United States.
Yep.
Where we live. Right?
Who we are.
In the meantime, people like fucking Shitgoose back here, whatever his name was, Aaron fucking whatever,
Aaron Studio,
is proposing a third presidential term, and I mentioned this early in the stream, because people like that do not give a fuck about the Bill of Rights. They do not give a fuck about the Constitution. They do not give a fuck about the amendments to the Constitution, because they do not give a fuck about the America at all. They don't give two shits about the United States. They don't care. To them, it's you might as well be a fan of Alabama or Michigan or whatever, right? Like, I'm rah-rah on a team, but that's it. And my team can never do anything wrong, right?
right?
Except for from the standpoint that, like, at the very least in sports, it still exists. You could criticize the quarterback. You could criticize the running back. You could criticize the ownership, right? You could criticize the draft. You could criticize who their free agent trades are. But that has been completely eliminated as far as the fucking MAGA party goes, right? Like, you can't do that anymore. And the reason that they were able to do that is because they're shading it in under the light that, like, this is God's appointed will or whatever, right? And the thing is, whether you're talking about the Christian God, the Hindu God, the Chinese Mao God, whatever the fuck you're talking about, Santa Claus, the bearded guy in the sky, whatever, I don't believe in any of that nonsense. And the reason I don't believe in any of that nonsense is because there's zero evidence backing it up, right? There's zero evidence. Why would I bother? Why would I bother believing in some nonsense that somebody made up, like Santa Claus, right? But for some fucking reason, these people have zero ability to just break out and go like, wait a minute, this is nonsense, right? And how much we've been talking about the new pope for the last fucking 2 weeks, right? Somehow the new pope is just wildly important. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a new king. They just brought you a new king. Nobody voted for him, except for some secret guys in a building, and then smoke came out of it, right? Am I agreeable with the new pope? Seems like a pretty agreeable guy to me. Seems pretty well thought out. Seems like he's been working pretty hard his whole life. I don't really have any criticisms for him other than he believes in a magical sky daddy, which just seems completely antithetical to having a foundation of a belief system at all, right? Is that someone else tells you your belief system? It's fucking wild. What?
Yep.
Drew says, having seen several countries completely at each other's throats violently, when/if we lose habeas protections, we are in for some dark days. We absolutely are. I agree with that 100%. If habeas corpus is thrown aside, we are going to see some dark days whether we like it or not. This whole idea of a civil war in the United States is founded in untruth, right? It's a Tim Pool fucking talking point. The beanie is on his head. It's too hot. It's too tight. It's rotted his brain. But he also was taking in millions of fucking, or allegedly was taking in millions of Russian oligarch money. So is it the beanie or is it the bank account? I'm pretty sure it's the bank account.
Well, and now he's all excited and high on himself because he gets to go flirt with what's-her-face, Levitt. So he's all kinds of confident these days.
Well, no, he's high on sniffing his own farts because his company's going out of business. So he's decided, well, he was always a right-wing guy. I mean, when I was watching this guy fucking 10 years ago, like, who's this fucking Tim Pool? Who the fuck is this guy? He's always been a right-wing guy, and he's always been standing around saying, I'm a moderate. Like, get fucked. Get bent. You liar. He's always just been a liar and a grifter.
Right.
But he's taking this extreme right-wing bend right now because his business is going out of business, which is also kind of funny because Ben Shapiro's business is going out of business. The Daily Wire.
You reap what you sow.
Well, I mean, that's one of the crazy things is that, like, these guys have all of these great ideas. Like, we're gonna go produce a movie, which, by the way, I've been saying for the last, I don't know, well over a decade that the likes of Tim Pool and Ben Shapiro, these guys are 100% grifters for whatever fucking attention they can get. And that's the reality, is that, like, you know, people like the guy was complaining earlier, the other guy was like, where's the fish content? You know, I was like, first of all, you didn't even ask a fish question. If you had a fish question, I'd gladly talk about it. A lot of people know me for aquascapes and stuff like that. If somebody had a question, we'll talk about it. Nobody had any questions, so we're going to talk about what I titled the stream, because that's what's on my mind right now.
Well, Alyssa still hasn't given us the punchline to the one fish joke.
Yeah, we still haven't gotten it. The reality is that, like, the business of YouTube is pretty difficult. It's difficult in the fact that you need a lot of luck. You need to have you have to be lucky to get the right timing. You have to get the right people. You have to get the right things in line in order to maintain success. And then nowadays, you need to just keep creating the same content over and over again. And because the algorithm just wants to feed the exact same thing over and over again. And like I said early in the stream, the reason I'm not a successful YouTuber is because I didn't really start selling things. Like, yes, I get the joke that I'm an Amazon affiliate. It's free to sign up for it. We get, I don't know, $5, $10, $20 a month, you know, here and there for selling stuff on Amazon. And to me, it's more of an ongoing joke than anything. Would I like the Amazon affiliate thing to be $10,000 a month or something? Sure, I guess, but it's more or less a joke. And the reality is that you have to deeply sell out, right? In order to be really successful on YouTube, or just be the magical lottery winner. And I brought up PewDiePie earlier. PewDiePie would be a perfect example of being a magical lottery winner. Like, he was right place, right time, right momentum, right investors, right ad reads, or, you know, sponsorships and stuff, when sponsorships were huge for YouTubers back then. And he made a shitload of money, and now he doesn't make any more content. I don't even know if he's posted anything. I think he just lives in Japan now with his wife, right?
I thought he was the one who died. No.
PewDiePie? No, he didn't die. He just left.
One of them did. For some reason I thought it was him, but okay.
One of what?
One of the early young YouTubers.
Well, people
like
die.
Kid gamer YouTubers.
Well, people die, you know?
I know. I just, for some reason, I thought it was him. What's up?
Oh, he posted a cycling across Japan 3 days ago. He posted one
Obviously
3 weeks ago. Posted one a month ago. Oh, I guess he's just posting these little vlog videos now. But he basically stopped for a long time Because he had a kid and he moved to Japan and he was like, I'm just going to do this and live with my wife. Right. And so it's one of those things, but like, I didn't want to do I'm going to start a company and then I'm going to start selling you products thing, which would have been the avenue, to go down. And the reason I say that is like, I know a bunch of other fish tubers that did the same thing. And I would not say that their lives are any better than mine at this point. A lot of them are living an empty existence. A lot of them are living a relatively good existence. But it's one that I wanted to look up. I haven't seen in a long time. I don't even know if they're like doing content anymore. I guess they're still doing content. So like somebody that has like a are they still selling stuff? Yeah, I think they're still selling stuff. I don't know. Like Flip Aquatics would be a good example of like somebody that went into the business. They're doing YouTube. They're still doing YouTube, so that's cool. And he's having a reasonably good life. He's got a couple kids now. And last time I checked in on him, it seemed like he was going pretty normal. He hired somebody to make content for them. I don't know how good the content is because I haven't, this is my first time even looking at it. It's like a perfectly good example. But there are a lot of other people I know from YouTube that are on the 100% other side of the spectrum at this point than Rob at Flip Aquatics, right? Like, Rob's got some kids. He's got a family. He's got a dog or whatever. You know, he's got good things going on. Right. His business is existing. And they're reselling stuff. But like when Rob started his business, I don't know if you guys remember this, he was only going to sell American-made stuff. He was only ever going to sell American-made stuff, and he immediately ran into the brick wall of that. Well, I'm not going to be able to do that. Like there just isn't enough U.S. stuff. Like he was only going to sell like U.S. bred shrimp and stuff like that, right? But then he ran into the brick wall that like that doesn't exist now, right? And one of the biggest things that I never wanted to do, and I hold to this morality in a way, was like just doing this exploitative reselling of shit that's being made by slaves, you know. And if you think the people working in China aren't slaves, I don't know what to tell you. Their standard of living has gone up, right? It's gone up quite a bit. The standard of living in China has increased. It's gone up, and that's great for the people there. But these people are living a life of indentured servitude, right? And I really, really, really don't want to be
contributing to that.
Not necessarily, just taking advantage of it, right? And being the guy who's selling you the fucking ShamWow, right?
Right.
You know, I don't want to be that guy. And I also don't want to be the guy who is like selling you the ShamWow or whatever. But I'm trying to think of a funny thing. But like, you know, Dustin's Aquatics, like he looks and acts like the ShamWow salesman guy, and he's also was one of the early YouTube guys, and I dealt with him, a million years ago, and I was like, I don't want to be these people, you know,
right?
And I don't want to be that. So, and there were some opportunities to start doing like aquascaping full time. But those got blown up by the fact that like other bigger YouTubers blew up those deals, essentially. Like things are just out of my control. I didn't have anything to do with it. That's what wound up ending my YouTube channel. Was I got in bed with an advertiser that gave me a decent check monthly, and the ethics of it became bad. Yeah, and that's the thing. I did find some ethical companies that I was going to attempt working with and moving forward. And it got, like I said, it got blown up by other people outside of my control. And probably for one of the worst reasons that you could ever imagine, right? It's that sort of like, it's the jealousy control type situation, right? Like imagine that you're, imagine somebody who doesn't have a good relationship with their spouse, right? So let's say your wife starts a business and her business starts going and it starts going pretty well. And this is part of human nature, right? You could go one of two directions. You could be supportive of their success, or you can fucking cut them down at the knees, right? You can pick. You can pick whichever lane you want to go down. And that's a choice. That's a choice. And some people are jealous and shitty, right? And some people are supportive and congratulatory. And one of the things that I know, and if you've ever noticed this, I don't know if you've ever noticed this from major stars around the world. I don't know if you've ever noticed this before, but those people that are working in like big, giant, multi-million-dollar movies and stuff like that, they will always just be like, yeah, that guy's awesome. That guy's great. That guy's the best. Right? And there's a reason for that, is that they're self-selecting for people that will at the very least just say that, you know? But there also are like a lot of people that are just like, yeah, man, if we're all fucking kicking ass, like we're all going to go up. Right. But unfortunately, like, you know, for me personally, I was surrounded by a lot of people that are like, well, if I can step on you to go up, I'll do that. Right. Which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Trying to live off YouTube ad revenue is a nightmare, but if you get a good sponsor, it can be good. But damn, it can suck. Yeah, the thing is, like, there isn't a good sponsorship anymore now. There was some years ago. Some years ago, you could have definitely had a good sponsor, a good sponsorship. But nowadays, like, it's not possible. It's not possible now in 2025 with the tools that they have and everything. And living off of ad revenue in 2025 is not possible. It's not going to happen. It's been like minimized to a point where it just doesn't work anymore. And I could say this from personal experience that, like, before COVID, one of the crazy things that you would see is the absurd levels of advertising dollars that were pushed in other directions, right? And one of the easiest ways to explain that would be like the Jimmy Fallon show is a good example, right? I've talked about this numerous times in the past, so I'm not like, it's not breaking news. But strangely enough, if you watch like a Jimmy Fallon clip like 5, 6, 7 years ago, all of a sudden there'd be a Ford truck ad, and there would always be a Ford truck ad for some reason, right? And it's because Ford was dumping a shitload of money into Google and only go on certain videos that they knew 100% were like, this aired on NBC. This is a specific clip that we've pre-watched, that we know that there's nothing weird in it, but it's, I'm trying to think of somebody famous, and Willem Dafoe talking about how he was in Spider-Man, right? And there's nothing obscene in it, and there's nothing weird, nothing like that. Buy a Ford truck. Right, and the Ford truck is like a full 30-second ad, like jammed in at the end, or even in the middle, right? And you're like, well, why? What the fuck? What's going on here? And it's like, oh, well, it's because Ford sponsors the Jimmy Fallon show, so they give a bunch of money to Jimmy Fallon, then they give a bunch of money to Google, then Google is paying back those ad dollars through AdSense, right? And the whole thing is cyclical, so that like big corporations can take advantage of it, and the tools and the technology exists now to be able to do that without even just batting an eye at all. Yeah, I stopped making content in 2018. In a way, it was lucky I got cancer. It gave me a way just to walk away. Took down about 90% of my videos, left a few I felt good about, and stopped making videos. Told the sponsor I was done and needed to go focus on chemo. Yeah, it's actually one of the it's one of the strange things. Like I have like I still record video. Like I still record video. The big issue that I have now is the time with editing and the time with actually making full-blown content, right? Like I can film it, but sitting down to edit it, licensing video or licensing audio, putting the music onto stuff, like doing all the things. Like I have a standing license and library and all that. And but the bigger side is dedicating time to editing. And I'm 100% not willing anymore to sacrifice the time that I get with my daughter to do that. Right. You know, I live in a different world now than I did whenever I fucking started this channel 15 years ago or whatever the fuck it was, than I do. And the reason may change in the future. But right now, the reason is that my daughter is 6 years old, and she is only going to be 6 years old till next November, right? And I was reading this kid's book, and it was talking about like the amount of time that you spend with your kids and how much it diminishes over time. And then like 2 weeks ago, I got a TikTok or something. Some short video popped up in my feed. I don't know, it was on fucking YouTube or whatever. And it was a guy who was talking, like, who had posted those statistics in it with dramatic music, you know, and it made you feel all emotional and shit. And I keep returning to the fact that for Olivia's 5th birthday, we took her to Disneyland in California, the OG Mouse. We went there. My mother was there when Disneyland opened. My grandmother took her there with my great-grandma. My great-grandparents' house was not very far away from Disneyland. They bought that house long before Disneyland was even an idea. My great-grandma, my grandma, my mom, they all went to that exact same Disneyland. I don't know if she wasn't there on opening day, I don't think, but she was there within the opening time.
Early on.
And my great grandma was there, my grandma was there, my mom was there, me and my sister went there, and I took my daughter there. When my daughter was born, my mom talked to me and said, I want to take Olivia when she turns 5 to Disneyland. And I was like, that's a great idea. I'm fucking poor though. How am I going to afford? We saved over time to make it happen. It was not cheap. I will fucking tell you. It was not, there's nothing cheap about it. Okay. But her 5th birthday, we went to Disneyland. We were there for 4 days, something like that. I think we were there for 4 days, 5 days all total or something. We were there on her birthday. We went to the Bippity Boppity Boutique thing where you get dressed up as your favorite Disney princess, and they do it up. You do your makeup, they do your hair. You get a dress, you get shoes, you get a wand, you get crown, you get all that shit. And I keep returning back to the thought that is the only time, that is it. That is the only time that I will ever Bippity Boppity Boutique with my daughter, ever, ever, ever. That is never coming back. That is never going to happen again. That is not ever. I'm never going to be able to do that ever again with my daughter. That's it. That's that one time. And it does not exist anymore. That time is gone. We'll not get it back. It's like it's like a fart in Trump's Oval Office. It goes out onto the golden Home Depot decor that's been spray painted. And that time is never going to return. I'm never going to get it again, and it's not going to come back. And I do not think that there isn't a point when I'm 63 years old where I'm not going to want to put a gun in my mouth because I was editing fucking aquarium YouTube videos for people and I missed the 4 hours an afternoon that I get in the evening with my daughter on a couple nights a week, because when I work, I leave the house at 6:30 in the morning and I get home at 10 o'clock at night. And then I do it again the next day, and I do it again the next day, and I do it again the next day, and I do it again the next day and I probably won't see Olivia until Saturday morning. So the thought of being like, well, I'll take Saturday and edit YouTube videos for $4 next week. Like I said, there isn't really a thought that exists in my mind of like long walk off a short pier type situation than being like, but I was making a YouTube video so people on YouTube would be able to fish tank their fish tank. What the fuck are you talking about? You know?
Yep, family first. Every single fucking time.
But I will say one of the reasons that I do the live stream is because I've had direct personal effect on us. I don't even know what the number is. If I knew what the number was, you would say it was probably a pretty small number, and I wouldn't disagree with you. But I've had a direct positive effect on certain people that are like, holy shit, maybe I could get sober. Holy shit, maybe I could stop being so toxic in my relationship. Holy shit, maybe I need to get out of this relationship because it is so toxic and I need to make a change. Holy shit, maybe it's my time to make YouTube videos. Maybe it's my time to get my word out there. Maybe it's my time to talk to my weird uncle and just try to empathize with the things that he's thinking and feeling and maybe going to make a change. I know that list exists. I'm not going to publicize any of that list because it's pointless. But there's a list of people that I have positively affected by doing things like this live stream and going, you aren't crazy. You aren't out of your mind. This whole situation is completely fucking FUBAR. And what we got to do is start positively making changes and making plans for accommodating what bad is coming down the pipe, right? Like accommodating against it. Prices are going to go through the roof. We are going to run into what's called stagflation. If stagflation confuses you, I would love you to take some time and go look it up. It's when prices go up, unemployment goes up, and guess what? Interest rates all go up all at the same time. It's completely fucked. I've mentioned many, many times on this YouTube channel, I am not a socialist. I am not a communist. I'm what you would call a social democrat in the fact that I want to expand our democracy as much as possible. We have the technology to do it. We have the ability to do it. We need a much bigger government. We need much bigger social programs. We have 300 and 40 million people that need to be lifted up and stop being put down. And we really need to start emphasizing that more than anything else. Oh, Drew's cancer-free. Well, that's good. Yeah.
Yes.
My wife is cancer-free now. That is another contributing factor to why do you stop doing YouTube. And it's one of those things that people like, I thought this was a fish channel. Fucking blah, blah, blah. It's like, bitch, have you ever got your tit cut off? Is that a thing? Is that a thing that happened? Because that happened to my family. You know? It also happened with my ex. You know? Has that ever happened? Does that ever happen to the fucking, I thought this was a fish YouTube channel? Huh? Does that ever happen to you? Probably not. You know? And the idea that the reason I bring that up is the sympathy and empathy. You know? Those two things are what we need to focus on moving forward, right? I'm sympathetic to MAGA freaks that have joined the what I would like to refer to as the MAGA sports club of wearing all sorts of sports paraphernalia with the MAGA shit all over it. You're shouting at people. You think you're
Golden
owning
diapers and ear pillows.
You think you're owning your enemy, right? And these are your American brothers and sisters that you're supposedly owning, right? I've never preached for banning guns. As a matter of fact, I've preached for expanding the Second Amendment so that the government is providing guns and ammunition and training and shooting ranges with our tax dollars. If the Second Amendment is so fucking important, we should expand it, correct? If freedom of speech is so important, we should expand it, correct? If habeas corpus is so important, we should expand them, correct? Which is why I say people like that dipshit that was here earlier want to piss all over our Constitution, take a shit on it, and then wipe their ass with it and light it on fire. Right? I want the Constitution to be a living document and an embodiment of the United States, and expanding our democracy is one of the best ways to do that, in my opinion. And I don't even think it's necessarily my opinion. It factually exists. It factually exists as a true statement that democracy creates better living standards, creates peace around the world, right? It creates the common good. But the problem is that a lot of our democracy was stripped away by dipshits like Ronald Reagan and those crazy administrations that ripped all this shit that was important from what founded America and the United States away. And we need to go back. If you want to make America great again, like it was in the 60s, civil rights came to be. Guess how much the highest tax bracket was back then? I have to look it up. 71%, I think, is what it was.
High.
Oh. I'm going to look it up because I decided, wait a minute, I should get the whole fucking thing. Oh, this is a long one. We got to go way back.
The Wayback Machine.
I've only made it to 1982. You got to give me a break here. I got to push this button a lot. Oh, there we go. Here is the progressive tax table. Let's see if we can't get a whole year here. 1975. Okay, here you go. 1975. This is what marginal tax rates look like. They get bigger as you go up. And here's one right here. If you made $28,000 a year, married, filing separately, tax brackets, 39%. $32,000 a year, 42%. $36,000 a year, 45%. $40,000 a year, 48%. Going all the way down here, if you make more than $200,000 a year, everything over $200,000 a year was taxed at 70%. And if we continue to go back here in the back machine, guess what? Guess what those numbers do? Those numbers only go up. Because this is when we saw the most economic growth in all of the United States. And that's because this is the direct expansion of the middle class. This is what this looks like. These marginal tax rates, still 70%. It's going to go up if we get back far enough. 66%. There's 70. Like I said, this was kind of a long one. This is the full list. This is like every tax code percentage. Oh, here we go. 64. It was in 1964. If you made over $200,000, everything over $200,000 a year was taxed at 76%. If you made over $400,000, everything over $400,000 was taxed at 77%. These are the American tax tables, and here it is, 1963, the coup de grace, the coup d'etat, if you will. And this went on for many, many years behind this. But everything you made over $400,000 a year was taxed at 91%. Okay? This is how the United States grew. This is how the United States was able to grow into a world superpower. Okay? Like, these are American ideals right here. You're talking about the real, actual American policy on how to tax income, right? Now, one of the big reasons why this exists is because all of this excess money here, right? So let's say you own McDonald's. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something stupid. What's a better company to think of? Oh, what's it? Was it Ray's Brakes and Tommy Boy? What was the brake company?
I don't know. I've never seen Tommy Boy, but okay.
Oh my God, you've never seen Tommy Boy? You got to watch that.
I'm really mixed on my.
You could say I could get a good look at a T-bone steak by sticking my head up a bull's ass, but I'd rather take a butcher's word for it. That's from that.
Okay.
Callahan, that's what it was. It was Callahan Auto. So let's say that you were. Oh fuck! I lost my. I deleted it. Hold on. So let's say that you were the owner of Callahan Auto, and you were making this amount of money right here, over $400,000. Let's say you're making $500,000 a year. So every dollar between $400,000 and $500,000 would be taxed at 91%. Guess what you would do if you were the owner of Callahan Auto, right? Instead of, in lieu of allowing 91% of your money to be taxed like that, guess what you could do with that money? You could do something. What's that?
To say you could donate it?
You could do something with that money that was considered a tax deduction, right? So, yeah, you could donate it. You could create a pension program. You could help provide daycare services. You could help provide food assistance for people. There's all sorts of crazy tax deductible things that you could do with that money. You could also, if you're the Callahan Auto guy, you could expand your company. You could pay more people. You could pay people a higher rate. You could buy new trucks. You could buy new machinery, all that kind of stuff. Because guess what? Instead of you extracting that money, right? Instead of you extracting that money, putting it in a bank account, putting it in an interest-earning divested account, right? That it's going to be invested in all of these whack companies. Instead of doing that with the money, you could literally invest it back into the people, place, and things that are earning all of that money for you, right? Then you could reap the benefits of those investments as a business owner, for instance. You could reap the benefits of those investments by, guess what? Probably not having to work that much because you have extra managers, you have extra workers, you have extra IT people, you have extra all sorts of stuff that you need, and you're able to invest in that stuff and be able to grow your company and have a profitable company and still take home a shitload of cash, right? Mm-hmm. But we don't have that anymore. We don't have that anymore because every administration has lowered that rate every single time. And then, Clinton comes in and, they lower it 7%. Clinton comes in and kicks it back up 3%. We're still down the 4%, and that has been happening over and over and over again. And now here we are, where they're going to cut the tax rates even more while they continue to spend money and tell you a myth about how the tariffs are going to make money when the U.S. consumers, us, are the ones that pay all of those tariffs. I don't know where this imaginary money is going to come from, but it's all imaginary anyhow. We made up this whole system and we could change it. This is all the end game of Justice Powell's plan to reshape the entire American judicial system to be friendly to corporations and the wealthy. Not only did he come up with the plan in the Powell Memorandum, but he actively orchestrated changes to the Supreme Court and what cases they took as a justice on that court. Yeah, I mean, this is all a plan. I mean, you just go read Project 2025. I mean, go read Project 2025. It's all highlighted in there. That's all the highlights. And then when you read the highlights, you can go look up where that came from and who was implementing that shit.
And then be terrified by the specifics as you drill down.
Yeah, exactly. But we are past the 4 o'clock hour. It is 4:30. I have to say goodbye to YouTube, and thanks to the Witchy Cat for the $5 super chat. We didn't get any other super chats, so that's it. That's it. We only get to say thank you to one person. I guess we get to do it live, as it were. Did we get any patrons today? No patrons today. We even talked about Patreon at the beginning, and we didn't even get any patrons. So either way, that's fine. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, if you guys desperately want me to get content out there, I have to financially be able to do it. I went on a big diatribe there for a little while about the fact that I'm not going to sacrifice my time with Olivia. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sacrifice the little bit of time that I get with her to make a fish YouTube video. It's just not going to happen. I could understand where people come from if they're making, $1.2 million a year or something, and they gotta do the YouTube stuff. I probably would do the exact same thing if I was in that earning bracket. I would be telling you all about Rummy Nose Tetras or fucking whatever new Rasbora. Ooh, right. I'd probably be doing the same thing. I'll be honest with you. Because tomorrow I'm going to be hanging cabinets, putting doors together, and cutting trim. So it's like, I'm down to do work. I just can't go broke doing the work. You know what I'm saying? But I hope you have a fantastic week. I will be back next week to talk some shit, unless I am too busy with blue-collar working stuff, And really hoping that I'm in the last 2 weeks of this house project, but every time I try to do certain things, the weather is not helping, and the asbestos test is not helping. So it is what it is. All right, love you guys. I'll talk to you later.